Hello. For my post-reflection video, I'm going to kind of read over some notes off of my computer completely at you. I apologize. So to begin, let's see. The first reading that I did was a social construction of difference, which talked about privilege and oppression. And mostly, we covered that in class. And it was interesting to learn that, in the beginning when I learned about privilege, I never really thought it would apply to me because I don't see myself as privileged. But after our class and the readings, I understand that there are different levels of privilege, and that one of the things we have to understand is to have hope and hold on to the distinction between the people that are privileged, that not everyone in a privileged class is oppressive. So going forward, you have to kind of look at other people that have privilege and see and hope that they are acting in a way that's not oppressive and maybe can use their privilege to help people that are oppressed. The second reading that I did in that area was for microaggressions, marginality, and oppression. And they basically just went over racial, gender, sexual orientation, microaggressions, and deprivation, which would be like withholding the dignity and respect from people that are in marginalized classes. I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand is actually oppressive, is denying something from someone, like denying love, they don't see that as an actual oppressive thing. And I think that's something that I want to be more aware of in other people as well. Let's see, so for chapter 2 is racism. And overall, we've made tons of strides against racism, but even after all of the progress that we've made, there's still just an insane amount of crazy stuff that happens to people simply based on their race. And it's something that recently I've gotten more involved in, especially when the Black Lives Matter movement started. It just kind of ended up being one of those things that's like, wow, you really need to actually get involved now. And being trying not to be confrontational or to, get into situations, that's a bad thing. We have to get involved, and we have to take that chance, and we have to understand that people who are experiencing racism, they don't get the opportunity to not participate. So going forward, I think I definitely have been more active. I actually even participated in a Black Lives Matter march in Tyler. So that is the first march or civil type thing that I've participated in my entire life. So I'm proud of myself for that, and I'm more open to a lot of things, and I'm definitely terrified that some of that stuff can get out of hand, and you don't want that to happen. But again, it's like some other people, you have to realize they don't have a choice in it. They have to participate, even if they don't want to. They don't get a choice. In that section, I did a reading on My Tongue is Divided in Two, which was about bilingualism, and they discussed how they would, how it was a positive in learning English, and I can see where that could be detrimental and scary to be part of something, to just completely learn a new thing. But I think too, the author talked about how given that experience and being in the field of entertainment and writing, that he's now able to provide more areas of representation for his ethnic background and all the people in his that are Latina. So it ended up being a positive, and I can see, I have very much respect for people who are bilingual. I'd never have understood how you could think someone was stupid if they know 2 languages. It's crazy, how you could think that someone was from another country was less intelligent when they know how to speak more languages than you. And that kind of goes in with everything else. It's just, things you want to have to try to keep an eye on and be more productive. And that is something that's kind of close to me because I have friends, and my significant other is a naturalized citizen. So he's dealt with that kind of stuff his entire life, especially being here. And that's something that it's good to know and to be even more aware of, so that I can kind of apply that to everything with him. And hopefully, it's it's a good thing. Okay. And the next chapter was on classism, and mostly just noticing like the economic disparity is more in the forefront since there's been a recession, and more people are like that weren't considered working class or lower class before might be in that bracket now because of how everything is economically. And it kept like everything right now is reminding me of the whole, like from the 20s there was a song that was like the rich keep getting richer and the poor stay poor. And it feels like that all of the things that we're experiencing like in society are kind of leading to forced classism on everyone. It's the haves versus the have-nots, or it's we're the working man or the, regular everyday people versus this or that. And the readings that I did in that section were on free labor, which was in quotation marks, which was about prison labor and the U.S. industrial prison complex. They use basically are like modern plantations. Currently, prison reform is one of the things that I'm into true crime, so there are things that you as true crime people, I think prison reform is one of the things that we all as a little subclass could get together and work really hard because towards fixing. There's so many things that it's just like when you start seeing like how many people are incarcerated for like minor infractions and how disproportionately that those are people of color, and that there's really not rich people in prison. It's mainly poor people go to prison. If you can't afford an attorney, you don't know how to work the legal system, you don't have access to the things that other people have access to. And the way that it's all set up is that there's just too many people profit from it. And so it's something that I'm wanting to get more involved in and learn more about to what I can do to not fix it because I can't fix it, but like be more involved in like legislation and things like that and what I can do to participate. Let's see. So the chapter 4 was religious oppression. And in that section, I read on the atheist oppression. There was an article about the Fresno atheists speaking up and having their... So as far as religious oppression goes, I feel like non-Christians and basically like Jewish people, Muslims, and atheists are more oppressed out of those groups. And readings from that section, I did one on Native American religious liberty and also the one on atheism. I feel like I identify as an atheist, so I know that there are times in my life, especially being in a southern area where like Christianity and like the Bible Belt is like hardcore here, that there are things that I honestly don't feel like I could say that at my job and people still respect me. Like I've worked at my last job, I honestly feel like they would have fired me if they knew that I was not a Christian, which is crazy, but it's just weird. And it's just one of those things that like, I don't feel comfortable letting people know that. And I wish that I did, because I don't know why it's so scary to me. So that's definitely something that I'm gonna kind of try to work on, is maybe, I don't know, like stand up for myself, but definitely not be so afraid to let people know that I don't have the same religious feelings that they do. Okay, chapter 5 was sexism, heterosexism, and trans oppression. The readings that I did in that section were on pansexual visibility and undoing heteronormativity, and calling all restroom revolutionaries. And on that area, I find the pansexual information pretty interesting. It seems like a really, like I kind of would almost, I don't think I would all identify as that, but to just love someone for who they were and not matter what anything else about it was. I can dig that. And I've also, I've always stood up for LGBT rights. I think that's something too, like just being in an area where like religion is hard, and that's just one of those things that people don't understand it. I have family members and friends, and they identify as, gay, lesbian, bi, and it kills me to know that, like, in this day and age, that there are still people that are like, no, they're gonna burn in hell. And I do my best to stand up for that and not deal with it. I have had situations before where it was just easier to be quiet, and I know that that's not, again, back to the racism in this as well. You just can't be quiet anymore. It's something that we need to work on. And the next chapter 6 was ableism, and the readings in that section, and the youth and elder oppression. I think going forward, like I need to be more. I can't think of the right word. It's not that I don't recognize that people have disability, but there are so many things that people don't realize. Like, they put stereotypes on people with disability to think that they don't have the same feelings that people that are able can't do, like sexuality and wanting to be in relationships and things like that. There's certain stigma that people put and that you just don't, that aren't real. But I'm in trouble with this. Okay, and then for the final chapter was working for social justice. In that line, I feel like, that we have to make a conscious effort to be aware of social injustices and have the courage to be an ally and call things out when we see them. Like I said, I want to, participating in just seeing and recognizing these things when they happen and calling them out, and also like actually being motivated to get involved, be a part of a march, get as much, like be a part of prison reform, be a part of local and state elections, so that you can make sure that those things are taken care of at the levels that they need to be taken care of, so that we can actually see change happen. All right, thank you.